Hi everyone, I'm Imelda here, DevOps Consulting from Applica Consulting. In that video, I'm going to talk about multi-cluster Kubernetes management. So, basically, Branchware is a cloud orchestration and cluster management tool, so it's completely open source. We know when we install Kubernetes, it's a dashboard API and we can manage our cluster. That's meaning it's specific for only one cluster, but when we have multiple clusters, we can use Rancher to manage them. So we will start by the disk creation, the instance creation, the Kubernetes cluster creation, the authentication with GitHub, and we will finish with monitoring. First thing that we will start by create the disk. Once that is finished, we will create now the Rancher instance. We will deploy the container image from the Docker Hub image to the VM instance. This is the version of the tag from GitHub. We need to do some setting up. And the networking config, which is a firewall and basically the service for the IP static address. When we will setting the volume mount and attaching the disk and configuring the networking settings, we can create it. Once it's finished, we will switch to the cluster creation. So our target is to manage our GCP cluster from Rancher. So we will create a small cluster with 3 machines, 1 master node and 2 worker nodes, all of them running on OS that you can choose a virtual machine what you need. But once the cluster is up, we'll proceed with setting up Rancher and how we can import the Kubernetes cluster to Rancher. Now we will access to the Rancher interface. Now we will authorize a third-party authentication with GitHub. We need to have an account on GitHub. personal account on GitHub. Once it's finished, we can add our cluster or importing our existing cluster from GCP. We need to connect on our current cluster by passing this command line. Just give a name for the cluster. We can add members. Now, for adding the cluster, we need to connect with our user account. Okay, nice. Now everything is okay. We can start on the Rancher platform things. So here we have our cluster with all informations concerning that cluster, his nodes, namespaces. We can add namespace. For the monitoring, we need to set up the Prometheus configuration. I choose this version from GitHub because it's provided as the monitoring. So we need to set up the Prometheus configuration and enable the library for monitoring. Once it's finished, we can access to the monitoring tools from endpoint or icons. So here we have the Prometheus. Also we can access to the Grafana interface from these icons. So we can see from here that Rancher acts as management interface, so you don't have to know anything about the kubectl commands, although I would recommend you to get familiar with the low-level fundamentals kubectl commands. So in that video I have shown you how to use an existing Kubernetes cluster and how to import it to Rancher and how to manage the cluster via Rancher. Thank you. Bye.